Good evening, troops. Welcome to the Action Elite. My name is Owen, and I am joined by my good friend Yuvin. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. That intro always gets me. We should do our best, like Van Damme pose. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I forget about it every time. I know you're sort of sitting there and you're like, okay, it's about to start, and that comes through like, oh, Jesus.
Wait, was that? I mean, this is the official YouTube intro. Remind me what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
All right. Nice.
So we're all good. So tonight we're going to be talking about one of my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme films, Timecop, which I saw way back in the theater back in 1994, whenever it first came out. So
you saw it in theaters. Very nice. Okay.
Yeah. So when was the first time you were introduced to it?
Timecop. I mean, I remember seeing Hard Target in the theater. I saw it at a second-run theater in Mansfield, Ohio. It was like for $1. My parents took me, and I was not even 10 years old, maybe, and so it's surprising they took me to see that in the theater. And they took me to see Street Fighter for sure, but I think I missed Timecop in between. So I think I saw it on video at some point.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh well. I saw it in video. I have it all on DVD and Blu-ray. But wait to see this cool thing. One of our fans, actually fans, Michael in California, sent me this, which I got framed, the Laserdisc.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't have a Laserdisc player, but this is like it's my baby.
No, it's just like the artworks on Laserdisc great. You see behind me, those are, I mean, there's couple of vinyls, but those are also Laserdiscs, right? And so it's like, it's a great art, you know what I mean?
It is, yeah. I mean, I got Steven Seagal to autograph my Out for Justice Laserdisc over there. And nice. It says, to own all my love, Steven Seagal, because he loves me.
All my love, yeah, he does. Yeah. You are best friends. Yeah.
He's my boy. So love you, Sensei. So,
I had in college or high school, I had like a 4-foot vinyl banner of Timecop. I got it off of eBay. I actually still have it. I still have a 10-foot double impact one from 1991 or like that in the closet here. And I had a 4-foot Timecop one, but I think it went away somewhere between moves somewhere.
Oh man. Yeah, it's still. Where does it rank? Like in your Van Damme movies, top 5, top 10, not at all.
Oh, that's a good question. No, I mean it's for sure one of his top movies. I mean, definitely. I think for me, telling people who don't know who Van Damme is or maybe aren't familiar with him, I'd be like, watch Bloodsport, watch Universal Soldier, watch Maximum Risk. It's a pretty good kind of evolution of him as an actor for 10 years, like going from karate to a little bit more acting and action. But Timecop, I feel, is up there. I mean, I would put that, I would probably say top 5, top 7. Put me on the spot like that just because like the era, like it's like the peak of his career, though. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, I believe this is to this day still his biggest theatrical release in terms of box office. In terms of like him on his own, outside of like the Expendables or whatever, but him on his own, I think it was his biggest and one of his best acting performances as well. This was sort of him becoming, a huge star. Definitely, as you say, the peak of his powers. I don't know. I mean, when people ask me what your top 5 Van Damme films, I'm like, Hard Target, Sudden Death, Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Lionheart. Double Impact. It's so hard to narrow down to 5 though.
And you get in moods though too, because like there's a certain time you're going to want to watch Double Impact and knock off back to back as like gonzo 90s movies that are 90 minutes long and just like make no sense but are awesome. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe, like I said, I can watch Bloodsport every whatever. I can watch Universal Soldier all the. I can just put something on, but But no, yeah, Timecop for sure. I mean, that was really the pinnacle. Like I think kind of the peaking of his career because that was a. Almost $30 million budget. He got 3.5 mil. Peter Hyams was like finally he had like an experienced director, not a first-time director. He had Universal behind him. So, I mean, that was like a big movie for him. It was number 1, I think, for 2 weeks in a row. So
I think it was, yeah. And this was the first time he worked with Hyams, but he was working on Sudden Death and Enemies Closer. So, of the 3 movies, which is your favorite? Timecop?
I mean, I would say Timecop. Sudden Death. I mean, I like Sudden Death. I don't love Sudden Death. I think it's just it is that kind of die-hard thing. It's just also he's trying so hard to be not Van Damme. He's just he's a French Canadian guy who played hockey and like now he's a fire marshal. He's just like not really like charming Van Damme or action Van Damme. He's kind of in the middle. And so which is cool. He's trying to stretch himself out as an actor, but at the same time, like when you look back at his characters, Darren McCord versus like Max Walker versus Luke Devereaux versus even the guy in Enemies Closer, the vegan enemy, the vegan villain. It's just like. His characters are so much more dynamic in other films than Sudden Death. So
that is true. He's probably the least interesting character in the movie. It's Powers Booth who steals the movie for that. Like I love him as Joshua Foss. He's a great villain. But I love
he's gonna put spiders in that little girl's mouth and stuff.
Yeah. But it's like the finale when everybody's like swinging on the lights and everything and coming in. The music is like so exciting, and like the music score by John Debney is awesome. I love it. That's why I have the poster. And me and my dad went to see it a bunch of times. But Timecop I saw in the theater, and I always remember it was set in the long distant future of 2004, which has long since came and went, and still no time travel. Self-driving cars are kind of here.
But the cars in that movie are so ugly. You know
so
what I'm
ugly.
saying? And I remember seeing one of those outside of a Planet Hollywood park. And it's like, it's cool to see that, but also it's like this like clunky car with all this crap on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like really sort of, crap design. A couple of comments here. Good evening, troops. Evening, J-Man. How are you? Extreme Movie Show. JCVD joked that this was the greatest movie of all time. It's a solid commercial film for him, Rob. Yeah, I'd agree. And one of his biggest hits. Now, one thing which I'm sad about with this movie is that the VR sex machine isn't around yet that I know of, and that disappoints me.
I'm sure there's some version of that. And speaking of sex, I remember Mia Sara was beautiful in this movie. Was beautiful. I remember seeing that as a young man. Like that was a pretty intense sex scene for someone who's like 10 years older, wherever I was. I was like, oh wow, okay. And then you see his butt. You know what I mean? Like there's like the shot like, behind his butt, and you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's slightly awkward. But this has maybe some of my favorite Van Damme split scenes in though, like in the kitchen fight when he does the splits on the counter. I love that. Definitely one of my faves. But going back to the virtual scene, because why not? I was reading that it was originally supposed to be like a nature documentary about beavers. It was a different kind of beaver. So the off-site film team got drunk on the evening of shooting and ended up in a strip bar. And the next morning they woke up realizing they had missed the bus to the nature reserve and had to instead film one of the dancers they had met in the club the night before. So I was like, nice.
Yeah, it's also very true. Like, what are things gonna, what are people gonna use stuff for? It's like sex, right? Sex and entertainment, right? And so there you go. And that, and the whole, gosh, what else? And the technology in that, his friend has like this, like not the CD player, but he has like a little like that little Walkman thing, but it's like a little square instead of a CD and stuff like that, if I remember correctly. So, I don't know. I can't. Yeah, that'd be a good one to see like what actually came somewhat true and what didn't, and probably not a lot came true.
No, indeed. I always remember the main thing that stuck out with me from the movie was Van Damme's hair. Just sort of really bizarre, but it was apparently like partially influenced by Wolverine.
Yeah, because it's not quite a mullet. It's not like it's not like we're talking about Richard Donner recently. So you watch Lethal Weapon 3, and Mel Gibson has it's like short in the front, and it's like long, so it's a mullet. Yeah. But Van Damme just kind of has this kind of like long wavy hair that's kind of comes out, so it is very Wolverine like. You're right.
Yeah, almost like a bouffon.
Yeah, because I think also he was trying to fight against looking, because Van Damme's a handsome man in the 90s for sure, and I think he was just trying to fight against looking so young. So like you have a little bit of gray in the hair, a little bit longer hair, a little bit gray, in the beard. Because he probably shot like 92, 93, so he's like 33. Still a pretty young guy. So
yeah. So J-Man says Timecop was the one and only movie I ever snuck in to see.
Was it because it was rated R, or just because he just didn't have the money to see it? I wonder.
Well, you let us know, J-Man. Also, J-Man, if you want to come in and join us, let me know. I can send you an invite in a few minutes. But one thing always puzzled me about Timecop, and maybe I never understood or something. When they go back in time, where do the vehicles go? They go in this little vehicle thing and it goes back in time, and then they appear, and you're like, where do the vehicles go?
Yeah, that's a good. Maybe it's like the Transformers thing where it goes in the pocket universe or something like that. That's the whole thing too, like that they run down this death-defying alley to go back in time. Then they just like hit a button to go back. You know what I mean? It's like, that was easy enough, right? So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was watching it last week, and I was like, wait. What happened?
Yeah, you're right. Basically, they fly. Basically, the car goes into like the void, and then they arrive outside the car, just wherever they are. So that's a good point.
Yeah, like you have that great shot. I always remember in the trailer of him all of a sudden appearing on the road, and the truck comes along, and he dives down.
Exactly.
And you're like, wait, where'd the car go?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was supposed to be. I think on the poster it says, a thinking man's action film, but maybe not think too hard.
It actually does. Yeah, it says so. Oh damn! It says so on the back of this, but I can't look because it's framed. But it does say, the thinking man's action movie. And I was like, I'm a thinking man, but I still like action movies. I kind of hate that term.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
It's like, if you like action movies, you're an idiot. I'm like, no.
Yeah. And isn't like I feel like was it the Quest? No, Timecop and the Quest. It's like the same face though, isn't it? I think it's like the same artwork of his face, just like against whatever. So
I remember I did an article about that years ago on the site, and it was the JCVD poster face, and there was this like period where all the posters he has the same facial expression in all of them, and they all kind of look the same. But oh, here we are. We might have an explanation here. Maybe only organic material will make the trip, and the vehicles end up in the ether. Maybe, but how do they get into it?
I think if you look at Terminator style, like that's like nothing dead can go in Terminator. That's why they show up naked and like it's a metal surrounded by living tissue. But in their case, I guess I would challenge because they still have their clothes on. So is that organic? I guess it's organic because it's like made from cotton or something like that, or made from leather. But yeah, I guess that's something about time travel, not to derail, but like for you with your time travel, do you like time travel on a loop? Do you like time travel as a branch? How do you like your time travel?
I find it always just so confusing. Whenever I try and overthink it, I just go cross-eyed. But like particularly after watching, Loki and things like that, where it's like branching off into the various things, and I'm like, what? I don't know. In terms of like the time travel, though, like sort of well explained as the Terminator, like the first one, where they kind of sort of forgot the lore in like the later movies, where it's like, no one goes back and only one person goes through or whatever, and then they're just like, anybody can go through anytime they want. As it went on, they kind of forgot.
Because I think Terminator, it's, if they think it through and kind of have their own rules to it, because like I think Back to the Future, it's like you can cross time but not space, so you'd end up where you are, just in a different time. Okay, that was the rule they set for themselves. Terminator, they set their rules for it's always going to happen or whatever like that. It's like one of those weird things. Like someone's always going to find the chip and always going to find the arm. So Skynet does happen. You know what I mean? So it's just a little bit like they can't stop it or not. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, maybe. One of my favorite things about this movie is Ron Silver. Yeah, the late great. He was definitely taken too soon, but he was so great as Senator McComb, because he was just sort of this like bullying asshole, like even pushes his aide's face into the side of the car and everything. It's like, you're a dick.
And he tells me like, if you're going to become a sniveling, whatever, can I put your face in the side of the car? You know what I mean? It's like, a pretty evil guy. And that's the thing too. A great sporting kid. He had Mia Sarah, Bruce McGill, Ron Silver. I mean, he actually had actors around him too. Mm-hmm.
Bruce McGill was great as Matuzak. He sort of provided a lot of humor, but whenever I was watching it the first time, I thought, oh no, he's going to end up being a bad guy, isn't he? And they didn't. They kept him the good guy, which I liked. They didn't go in that direction where he was going to betray him or something, because I liked him so much. He was such an appealing character, and he actually would show up in the TV series. Did you ever see?
I never did. No, I think you were talking about not too long ago. But if we should do something about all the sequels and spinoffs that Van Damme started, but like doesn't star in, because that guy's got to have like 9 to 12 entries of things that he starred in the original, but like didn't do another one of.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Kickboxer sequels and then Bloodsport as well. But the second movie, I keep forgetting what's called. It was Timecop 2: The Berlin Decision.
Yes, tell me. I've never seen that, so it's up to you to tell us what is that about and how is it.
Well, it actually does feel like a sequel. It's not Max Walker. It's got Jason Scott Lee as the lead, and I always liked him since Dragon the Bruce Lee story. I wanted him to become a huge star. Yeah, he was just very charismatic and great on screen. And then you got Thomas Ian Griffith as the villain, kind of, but he kind of sort of has a redemption arc. But it has some good action scenes, lots of fight scenes, and arguably you could say the fight scenes are better in this than they are in this one. They're sort of like martial arts fight scenes, and they're like really good. It doesn't quite have the emotional punch though, because I always thought Timecop had a really good story, and you really care about Max Walker, and then his the relationship with his wife, and then where she dies and everything. You really genuinely care. This one, it doesn't really have it, but. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's not as good or as memorable. I mean, I believe it was straight to DVD, and it was from 2003 or something, so it kind of came and went with little fanfare. But any movie with Thomas Ian Griffith is worth watching as far as I'm concerned. He's awesome. And then
and it's full circle now, right? I mean, now he was Terry Silver. Now Terry Silver's coming back in Cobra Kai, and so,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, yeah. But back to the first one here, because everyone's sort of commenting here about I was thinking it was like the transporter in Star Trek, the vehicles. I was like, yeah, it could be. And Predestination is the ultimate time travel brain masher. Oh yeah, have you seen that?
I have not.
With Ethan Hawke.
Okay, nice.
It's a good movie, but it's kind of messed up. I don't want to say anything, but by the time you get to the end credits, you'll be like, what?
What? Okay, all right. I like it.
Yeah, this is one of those. Bruce McGill was also in the first and last episode of Quantum Leap. Yeah, Bruce McGill's been in tons of stuff, though. He's one of these guys who's in tons of stuff. Yeah. Also produced by Sam Raimi and Rob Tapert.
So like the kind of like, it's cool because I think, if I recall, I mean, this was a, Dark Horse at that time was coming out with movies and stuff like that. And I remember reading an article, I think, in Cine Fantastique, which was a great 90s movie magazine, kind of like before you had commentaries and documentaries, that kind of stuff. And they're just talking, I think it was a Mark Verhoeven guy who was from Dark Horse. Yeah, thank you. And he was saying, like, as soon as Jean-Claude got attached, it was like the movie just went. And then, you had Robert Tapert and Sam Raimi, who had just done, or at least Sam Raimi had just done Hard Target with him as well. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I wish it would have been nice to have seen that collaboration continue. I think if you would have seen, like Sam Raimi produced Van Damme movies for another few years, I wouldn't say no to that.
I thought there was like something that Sam Raimi almost directed it or something. I can't remember, but like Sam Raimi had some pretty serious involvement in it, if I remember correctly. Now, I have never actually read the comic of Timecop. I've always wanted to, but I've never been able to find it. So, I mean, I could probably go on like Amazon or eBay and find it, but I was trying to find it like digitally, so I could like read it on my phone or whatever, because I don't have space for more stuff. But
I never read the comic as well. I mean, because that was actually, I think, now I'm thinking about it, because Dark Horse had a good run back then, because they had at least The Mask, they had Timecop, and they had Barbed Wire, and maybe Tank Girl were all Dark Horse comics, I want to say. And so they had a good run in the 90s there. I think Virus with Jamie Lee Curtis was maybe based on a Dark Horse comic. So yeah, they definitely had a good run.
I love Virus. It's one of my movies that everyone dumped on at the time, and I saw that in the theater, and I was like, this movie rocks, and it has like a great music score and everything. I just watched it again recently, and it did sue me. I like Virus, and then everybody agreed, and I was like, good, that's why I love you all.
Yeah, there we go. Nice.
So now, did you ever see the footage of the video game? It was like for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it's just like the side scroll, you're trying to jump and kind of thing. Yeah. There's not a lot of, I mean, same thing. I saw the Universal Soldier video game in an arcade. It's the same thing. It's like, side scrolling, jump up and shoot kind of stuff. And I feel like Timecop was the same of that. But had you actually played it before?
No, I don't know if it was ever released. Now, I'm reading here from the screen, which is where I got it. But in 1995, prolific French video game developer Cryo Interactive Entertainment developed 2D movie tie-in game Timecop for Super Nintendo. The game was loosely based on the first Timecop movie and featured a realistic digitized graphics similar to those in the first Mortal Kombat games. The player is a Timecop who must go after the inventor of the time travel technology, and over the course of 15 time-limited levels set in various eras, stop him from tampering with the past and the future. The gameplay was similar to beat-em-up games, but also had a few shooter sections. The game immediately fell into obscurity. In 2007, the cancelled, almost finished version of the game's Sega CD port was leaked online. So...
Okay, so it never actually came out then. Okay.
No, I don't think it actually came out, but I watched it on YouTube, and I've always thought it looked cool. Those side-scrolling beat-em-ups and shoot-em-ups, that's my jam. Those were my video games growing up. And
no, I mean, that's the thing. Final Fight is my shit for sure. I'd love to see some movies based on Final Fight.
Hello, this is Mayor.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, could you imagine something like the 80s or 90s, like get like Jesse Ventura to play Mike Hagar? You know what I'm saying?
It could only be Jesse Ventura. There couldn't be anybody other than Jesse Ventura. So they have to clone him to play him. I couldn't picture anybody from today to play him. I mean, somebody said John Cena, and I was like,
yeah, well, okay. I mean, there's such a colorful background, and Jesse Ventura had the same colorful background. You know what I mean? And the whole thing. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, but if you would have had like an 80s, 90s, could you have had like Brandon Lee as Guy, and then who else from the 80s, 90s could have been a good Cody? But I mean, what could have been?
I know. I thought actually, why do I always forget his name? The guy from Karate Kid and Cobra Kai who plays Johnny with the blonde hair.
Oh, I guess so. He's like not likable though. I don't see. He's still, I mean, he just always just kind of plays whatever. Maybe it's just that he was the '80s guy, because I think he's in a few movies, like he's in Vacation, he's in Karate Kid,
Shoot Fighter. Shoot Fighter and Shoot Fighter 2 with Bolo. And Bolo's in them too, and he's they're both good guys in it. So it's like it was kind of cool, because it was like the usual villains were actually good guys in those movies. So this was really cool. And I like comment here. I love how Yuvina has Predator beside the Muppets on his wall. Street cred.
I mean, what I'm saying? It's just like I'm reading a book about Bruce Lee, and the dude was like a troublemaker, and they failed out of school, fighting people all the time, doing kung fu, but then he was like a hardcore cha-cha dance champion, right? So it's like it's all about being well-rounded, right? The Muppets can always bring you up and make you feel better, and they can and Arnold can always inspire you. So
yeah, exactly. And who doesn't love the Muppets?
Exactly.
I mean, the Muppets are awesome. So actually, I love some of the dialogue in Timecop as well. You've got that great line, I'm still kicking. I must be on Broadway.
Yeah, exactly. Or
maybe
we were just
my
talking
favorite.
about Philippe, and, same matter cannot occupy same space. Timecop.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. It's definitely 1,000 times better than Looper. Or whatever the line is, but yeah, it's definitely better than Looper. I would agree with that. I don't like Looper.
That'd be a good double feature, though. When theaters start opening up again, and start having these special events, it'd be cool to see just like an action time travel double feature like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, when I watched it again, I mean, some of the effects are a little dated, and I was like, well, it's 1994. The problem is, I keep thinking 1994 is 10 years ago, and it's always going to be 10 years ago in my mind.
Yeah, it's if you had a child in 1994, they'd be closer to 30 than they would be to 20. So.
Yeah, they'd be like 26 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So that's really depressing. But yeah, it's still an awesome movie. There's plenty of fight scenes. Like I said, you got him the fight scene in the kitchen where he fights James Lou. I only realized it was James Lou this time I watched it. I was like, oh, it's James Lou.
Yeah, I would say with that one, I mean, because that has, of course, the epic. Not even because usually it's like the full split. And this one's like the kind of the cross split or the front split between the counter, which is great, something new. And he's like got his shirt off, obviously, all sweat, all oily. But then that knife fight he had with James Lewis, it's just like James was like moving a million miles, and then Van Damme's was like, you know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, it doesn't need to move fast. He's like, I'm just that good. Yeah, that was definitely a favorite. And then there's some good kills in the movie as well. Like I love how
you were talking about lines, and then the guy's like 50,000 volts, motherfucker. Have a nice day. Like kicks his arm off. He's like, have a nice day.
Yeah, and that's my favorite kill of the movie. That he like electrocutes him, and it's just you see the water spilling over, and as soon as the water spills, you're like, oh, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something we need to bring back, which I think the John Wick movies have brought back, which is good. Is the like ridiculous, over the top bad guy death.
Yeah.
Bad guys need to die in spectacular ways, like Combine Harvester or something like that. So I still stand by that Universal Soldier is the best bad guy death of all time. You're discharged, Sarge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how can people not like it? I mean, I love how he's impaled on the Combine Harvester, and then Van Damme breaks his arm just to be sure, and then like minces him up. That was so good.
No, he somehow pulls his arm off the impaled Combine, like it's going to pull him in. So Van Damme has to break his arm and then put him through the chopper. So.
Yeah, that was so good. Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites. But yeah, I definitely want to see a return to ridiculously over the top violent deaths. But like I said, the John Wick movies have done that. People being killed with books and things like that, and pencils. Which is good.
Actually, I remember in Pound of Flesh, when you were here for that, there was actually a nice throwaway line where Van Damme had like the Bible, and he's like, if I hit you with this, it'll leave a big bruise. And it was just something funny, something different. He wasn't just going to hit somebody. Yeah. So.
That's right. Bond had a guy go through a huge snowblower. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so Timecop, definitely one of my favorites of Van Damme. I don't know where I'd rank it. Definitely top 10 anyway.
Because it's one of those things too, because it's like you almost kind of rank things. For me, I think it's when he was kind of in his theatrical career and when he was not. So I look at the 90s as kind of like one part of his career, and then he kind of he didn't reinvent himself, but he did, like he actually tried to act, right? So by like the early 2000s with Wake of Death and In Hell and this and that, like he's doing different stuff. He wasn't just doing the same old thing anymore. So I kind of look at almost like, and I think for action fans, you kind of saw him take a lot more serious approach to things, which is you miss the 90s version of him, but you understand that he's trying to do something different. He's trying to act, so.
Yeah. I found with a lot of the straight to DVD movies he did since the 2000s, he always plays sort of darker characters and sort of gritty, and like Wake of Death was a rough movie, but it's one of my favorites. I think it's actually a really good movie, and you got like Simon Yam in it as well, I think. And
I think Wake of Death is amazing, and then In Hell is a great performance from him. It's just like it's a hard movie to watch for me. It's like not the kind of movie you want to watch a lot, but him in it, you can see. And I think you and I talked about a little bit. He mentioned that's kind of like when he felt he was an actor. He's like, I felt like I was actually acting and not being Van Damme anymore. Was In Hell, and I think that shows through. So
yeah, I think I was talking on another show recently, and we were saying, I would prefer to watch Death Warrant more often than I do In Hell, because Death Warrant is like vintage Van Damme. You got the Sandman, everything. It's a sense of fun. There's no prison rape in it where there is in Hell, and that poor guy. Well, God, it's just awful. That's why I don't watch the movie often.
Death Warrant, of course, is a great one because you have a lot of his homies are in there and stuff like that. And Art LaFleur's in there, and the guy who played his partner in that movie. But it's just like it's a great 90s movie. I don't know if you've ever heard the story with David S. Goyer, the guy who would go on to write Blade, stuff like that. that was like one of his first big movies, and it's on his website. Something like Van Damme told him, like, at a certain point, you'll write better movies than I'm going to star in. But for now, Hollywood's going to try and kill you, but I'll protect you like an eagle. And I guess David Gore always remembered that from Van Damme. So,
that's such a thin thing to say. I can just hear him saying it.
Exactly.
Actually, I just remembered there because I saw a note here about Timecop, which I never noticed before. See the IMDb trivia. It's great. You just find out all this little behind the scenes stuff of the movie. But in Timecop, Agent Walker always runs or is in fast motion, such as falling, when entering and exiting time. Senator McComb walks when entering, exiting time. This signifies that one has plenty of time and the other doesn't.
Wow, that's deep. I mean, that's like, I wonder if that was an aesthetic choice. I'm sure it was, but that makes sense because he's actually back there to find someone to get them back, and he's on the clock, whereas McCombs is back there getting money, right? So
yeah, so it's really quick because didn't they mention Timecop in Avengers Endgame? Yeah.
Because that's also, he's like, any movie you ever seen, like Timecop, Time After Time, whatever. Like it's named as one of the time travel movies.
Yeah, and that's why I liked it, and I was like, oh, good, I like this Avengers movie because you've mentioned a Van Damme movie.
Yeah, there you go, exactly.
Yeah.
And then because then Captain Marvel had to stand up for True Lies in it, so it's just like, they understand. I'm sure they're fans of action films like that. So
yeah, damn right. Yeah, I have a Captain Marvel poster there just because I think
very nice.
I gotta love Brie Larson, but anyway.
Yeah.
So moving on from that's kind of all we really need to say about Timecop. But one thing I wanted to discuss was, who do you think are Van Damme's best adversaries that he's fought in movies, excluding him? Because where he fights himself.
Yeah, it's true. He does fight himself several times. I mean, you got to go with Bolo for sure. I mean, Bolo in Bloodsport is iconic. Yeah. He's great in Double Impact. Kickboxer, of course, Tong Po is a good one. He's such an evil villain, and Dolph, of course, is amazing in Universal Soldier. I mean, really, like Dolph, like that was one of his shining roles as Andrew Scott in Universal Soldier for sure. I'm trying to think. I mean, because Nowhere to Run, that's like not quite an action movie, so it's not really it's like a land developer, the guy from Mighty Ducks or like that. I'm trying to think other good villains like that. I mean, it's. I'm trying to think of other movies from that time period now. I mean, the Red Face from Maximum Risk. Those fights he had in the elevator with him were great. So
yeah, Fushan from Hard Target.
There you go.
Yeah, both Joshua Foss from Sudden Death, definitely. Yeah. Actually, I love Ron Silver and Timecop. He's great. I like how in those movies, just in his theatrical period, basically, where they wouldn't be like martial arts guys like Fushan, Joshua Foss, Senator McComb. None of them were like karate guys or whatever. So they weren't all about the fight scenes. They were sort of, there was brains they would use. So Van Damme would just fuck them up at the end, and that would be it. Actually, Hard Target.
I think it works in Hard Target though, because he has the gunfight with Van Cleef, and then he kind of has like the mano a mano fight with Lance Henriksen, which you're like, but in the circumstance they give that he gets shot, there's fire, he gets him with the board, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you didn't feel it was too unmatched, but it definitely is that's a great ending in Hard Target for sure.
Yeah, hunting season is over. Yeah.
Oh wait, actually, speaking of, if you can see the mullet or not, let's see here.
Oh, that's amazing.
There you go. Yeah,
I love it. I don't have a Van Damme t-shirt. I used to have a Bloodsport t-shirt, and I used to have a Hard Target one, but I became fat and they didn't fit anymore. So I've lost the weight now, though.
I was say you look good, man. All those walks in the morning. But no, for me, I wear a Van Damme shirt every Monday. So if I'm on a call, if I go to the office every Monday, you can bet I'm going to be wearing a Van Damme shirt. So
Monday is Van Damme Day. Then I think maybe we should just have a 4-day work week then, and Monday should be a national holiday every week to celebrate Van Damme, and everyone has to watch a Van Damme movie or something. I would be into that.
Yeah, for me, I mean, basically, I have a great graphic T-shirt collection. It's always been one of my keepsakes, or just like what do people know me about. And because, you go all these conventions, you see stuff, you go, Target always has all these shirts now. All these websites are doing all these great shirts now. So you'll just, for stuff like that, we like, I remember back in the day, comic book shirts were like not everywhere. And I was wearing a Captain America shirt. And this person's like, do you read comic books? I'm like, why would I wear a Captain America shirt if I didn't read comic books? And she's like, because like so-and-so is popular, blah, blah. I'm like, whoa. Like, I'm not a poser. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually like Captain America. So.
Yeah, it's like people who wear band T-shirts. It's like, Led Zeppelin. You're like, name a Led Zeppelin song.
Right. But yeah, I used to be able to pull off, every week I could do some kind of like a Van Damme shirt, an Arnold shirt, a Stallone or Kurt Russell shirt, plus like some kind of a Marvel shirt in between, or a He-Man shirt. So
it looks like somebody had spammed there, so I just had to remove that there.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Wait, did you tell me? You told me your villain. Sorry about that. Continue.
Tong Po creeped me out when I was younger, definitely. I mean, there was great makeup for a start. But yeah, Tong Po I thought was really nasty. I loved Chong Li in Bloodsport as well. He was great. But Fu Shon is nasty because like he hunts the homeless for sport. I mean, the other guys were like martial arts or whatever, and there was like maybe like a sense of honor to them or whatever. Not much with Tong Po, but they would stop. But Fu Shon was just like a murdering bastard. He like literally hunted people, and it's hard push to beat that.
Yeah, and around the world too, right? They had like little franchises set up, like, oh, we're gonna move to another city now and do this for another whatever months. So
yeah, all of like the Van Damme movies, I always thought Timecop maybe deserved a sequel.
and that's the thing with the TV show. I think you kind of hear Van Damme talk about it. He's like, oh, the producers were morons; they sold it to TV, and so it's just I think the fact that you had a video game and you had a movie sequel, direct to video, and you had a TV show, I mean, just kind of shows you it made an impact. I mean, that was like you were saying, that was like his biggest movie. It was his biggest movie box office wise, headlining. It was like one of his biggest budgets. I mean, so. Definitely, and I think one of his biggest openings too. Probably his biggest opening. So
yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I remember seeing.
I want to say 12 million. It was like 12 million opening, which was weird to think about that time. Steven Seagal like made more money in theaters, but for some reason Van Damme I felt was more famous. So.
Yeah, there was definitely the whole rivalry between the two of them, but because I always wanted to see Steven Seagal and the Expendables movies, but you would never do that. But you can stay tuned for that, everybody, on Friday night when we'll be talking the Expendables trilogy.
Do you have? I guess you can talk more about this on Friday, but just kind of really quick. Do you have a favorite Expendables film?
The first one.
First one, okay.
Easily the first one. The best villain, of course, is Van Damme in the second one, but the second movie is ugly looking. I think the
second one is it's like a mix, because I feel like part one is pretty serious, part two is a little goofy, then part three is a good mix of both.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there was too much parody in the second one. Like what's next, Rambo, and you're like, oh.
And the dude's and his name is Jean Valjean. You're like, Stallone's just like, yes,
this is great. Hold on, comment here. This is directed by Peter Hyams, and then Universal Soldier Regeneration and Day of Reckoning was directed by his son. That's right. So.
And John Hyams, yeah, great. What a great filmmaker. I wish he would have a chance to do more, you know what I'm saying? But he's done some amazing films, just especially in that world of just, kind of low budget, short schedule kind of stuff. But John Hyams definitely talented as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing was with those two Universal Soldier movies he did, they were both so different even from each other. Even though they were different from the original, they were both so different from each other. And Andrei Arlovsky in Day of Reckoning and Regeneration, he's a great Van Damme villain. Do you remember that great fight scene in Day of Reckoning where he fights Scott Adkins and there's the baseball bat?
Yeah, that's a great one in the Sporting Goods Store. Yeah. That's the thing about Regeneration. It's like it's a great looking movie. It's such a neon nightmare, but such an ugly movie to watch. I feel. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's got that kind of sort of almost like David Lynch weirdness to it. It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
But once again, it's not one that I watch that often, but I do like it. I mean, I know a lot of people hate it because it's so different.
Oh, really?
From the original movie, like in terms of tone and everything else. I like that. I don't want to see the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, because even part two is a trashy movie. You know what I'm saying? Like Universal Soldier Regeneration is that the one with Michael Jai White? No, The Return.
Oh, The Return.
It's just like kind of a trashy movie. You know what I mean? Just like very like the heavy metal soundtrack and then this and then that and the jet skis. It's just like, but it's like a good trashy time. Like for 90 minutes, Van Damme looks good, Michael Jai White looks good, Goldberg, good fights, whatever like that. But just I think Universal Soldier Part 1 just kind of shows you how talented Roland Emmerich was. You know what I mean? Just like took these kind of like two unknown guys and put them like in a great looking action movie. So
and also like Michael Jai White was in the first Universal Soldier.
Lucas,
opening
Lucas, get the fuck out of here.
I always remember that. So we'll maybe do like a Universal Soldier show at some point in the future and talk about them. And I need to get refreshed with the Jeff Wincott TV.
I was gonna say I watched one of those at least recently. I watched I think part 2, Brother in Arms, whatever, Unfinished Business, whatever it's called.
Same, yeah. I think there's Brothers in Arms and Unfinished Business. I don't think I've seen Unfinished Business because that first one was so bad I didn't bother watching the other one. I was like, my time isn't is more valuable than that.
But then once again, I mean, here we go. Van Damme is in a movie now. There's like 2 direct to Showtime sequels about it. You know what I mean? Then plus a theatrical sequel, then plus 2 sequels, 10 years later. I mean, it's amazing. So
And this Friday sees the release of Van Damme's latest movie, The Last Mercenary, which I'm really looking forward to. I don't know about you. I think the footage I've seen so far is really good. It looks funny. It looks, I think you were saying before we started that it looks kind of like Jean-Claude Van Johnson. It's almost looks that kind of feel with the humor and everything.
Because that's the thing. I guess we can start with Jean-Claude Van Johnson. I mean, that was kind of the last big project he did. That's Amazon. We did premiere for in LA. That went on for that one season there, but a lot of promotion for that one, and then a lot of fun. I didn't love the concept. I don't think the concept was maybe executed the way it could have been. I do feel Jean-Claude, ever since JCVD, he plays himself really well, but I think he could play other characters as well. And so I think Jean-Claude Van Johnson was kind of like, it was like too jokey, not jokey enough, or too serious, not serious enough. And so it just kind of had a weird vibe that maybe just didn't quite land the way that I hoped it would have. Just because, Van Damme's he's a great actor, and he's really funny though. Like he's just that's the thing. He's never been himself. Like if you ever spend time with Jean-Claude, he's really funny. Like he's just an odd guy, like odd in a good way. He is who he is, and he's just a funny dude, and he has a good time. And so to see him being so serious in films, you're like, dude, like you're like a really effervescent, positive, funny dude in real life. You should not try to do the parody version of yourself where you're like kind of winking. It's like just like someone take advantage of his just natural comedic talent. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Van Johnson didn't work for me really. I mean, it had fun moments in it, but it just got a bit too stupid at times. And you're like, and the tone was a bit weird. And you're like, is this a comedy or is it serious or what? And you just didn't really quite sure what to make of it. And then the way it ended, I was like, what? So
that's the thing. Yeah, it's a mix. We were talking about Philippe. Philippe's such what a random character that he like played. Like he like took it to 100% and he had fun with it. And then you have and then you kind of have like, but we were saying about Last Mercenary and JCVD was just like the fact that he's wearing all these costumes. He's always he looks like he's whatever, got the hair and the beard on. Then he's got the Guy Fieri outfit with the blonde hair and stuff like that, and stuff like that. So
I'm looking forward to this one. I think it looks fun, and it looks like it's sort of got the younger crew doing the young crew bit. It was sort of Expendables 3 thing.
I thought he would just have a very just kind of like reduced mentor dad role, but then you see the trailer, it's like, oh wow, this is like a Van Damme movie. Oh wow, like they're really pushing. It's like it's his thing, and so I was surprised by that. Like I had seen Jean-Claude talk to him a little bit since he had done that film, and just it didn't really come up too much. We talked more about the fact that because I think everyone sees that it's going to come out. It's going to be in English. It's going to be in French. It's going to be what they shot it in French. He had offered to do takes in English so they could have both, and they're like, no, it's okay. We'll just do it in French. And then people saw it and they're like, oh, this movie's a lot of fun. We need to have a bigger audience. So now he had to go back and record his dialogue in English. So I think you can kind of take your pick on Friday. So I'm going to watch the French version. What are you going to watch?
Oh, I'll definitely the French version for me. I mean, I have to watch every movie with subtitles anyway because of partial deafness, but so French or English subtitles, it doesn't matter. It's going to have subtitles no matter how I watch it. But if something is from, it's like an international film, like even if I watch like a Hong Kong film or Japanese or Korean or whatever, I'll always watch it in the native language and then have the subtitles on it because I hate dubbing, and I really just prefer the subtitles because it just feels more authentic. So yeah. God knows when I'm going to watch it. I've been working from home all week.
What are you're gonna say till like Thursday, like or 12:01 on Friday, watch it, or like 8 a.m. Friday, watch it. Like, what are you thinking?
Just phone my boss Friday morning. I'm sorry, I can't get off the toilet. I have to watch this before I come in. So yeah, I'll probably just get up stupid early and watch it. I mean, what I do is I normally get up about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Then I watch a movie or whatever, and then I write a review. That's how I keep the site going whenever I have a full-time job. It's great.
It's impressive though. I mean, I used to, I'm so thankful to Owen for help, letting me come on these kind of things and send him articles, that kind of stuff. I used to run a blog and it's hard. I mean, I just, you just, not that you lose interest, it's kind of like the time it takes. And like, so I always commend you for how much you put out consistently. And the fact that you can watch a movie and write an article, then go to work is great. I mean, it's awesome. Like for me,
thank you.
I couldn't do that. So.
Yeah, I don't know how I managed to keep going. Did you know this is the 10 years of Action Elite? This is the anniversary this year.
Oh, what are we doing for it, man? Let's get some anniversary events going then.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of like something cool to do. That's why I wanted to start doing the YouTube stuff, just to do something different to celebrate 10 years. So I don't really know what else we can possibly do, but happy 10 years.
We'll think about that. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. 10 years, dude.
Yeah, so because I remember, do you remember when I first started the site and it started on webs? Do you remember, like, it wasn't on like WordPress and it looked like really shitty and cheap and everything. And I mean, even whenever I go back and I read some of the reviews back then, I'm like, So yeah, I've come on a little bit as a writer since then, at least. But
because I'm trying to think, when did I first? I'm actually now. You got me thinking about when I first just interacted with you. I'm sure I just sent you an email or sent you some kind of message like from your site, and then we became buddies. And then I met you in real life. So
yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, so that was like 5 years ago. We were in LA.
I think longer than that, but I think it was like 2015. So I might be like going on
6 years ago. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that was whenever I met Jean-Claude Van Damme. Thanks to Ernie Barber, actually. So that was so awesome because he had this, just like you were saying, he has this great sense of humor. But I remember when we were talking to him and he said, "Where are you from?" I said, "We're from Scotland." And he was like, "You flew here from Scotland?" And I said, "Yeah, we came here just to meet you." And he's like, "My friends," and he hugged me, lifted me off the ground like that, and the thing is, he was like in his late 50s and pure muscle. I mean, the guy is still
pound of flesh time. He was jacked at that. I mean, I've seen him. He's a jacked dude, and it's like impressive, like how physical he still is, and just because he looks. He puts a jacket on, he looks like skinny. Puts a hat on, he looks like skinny. And all of a sudden he just goes like this. It's like, wow, he's Van Damme. You know what I mean? It's amazing. So
yeah.
But no, I remember, just like, but I think that's also, being such a long time fan of his, part of that is just like he can share that with you right away. Like I've met Dolph a handful of times, and he's kind of cold, you know what I'm saying? But Jean-Claude right away was like, "Hey man, blah 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 blah," and like, "You're in good shape," and blah blah blah. "What's your name?" Blah blah blah. He's like your best friend, like right away in like 10 seconds, and that's a pretty impressive thing. And then I think some people can play that better than others, but he's always like that. Where like, you might catch him. He's a human being. He gets tired. He has bad days, but he flips the switch and he's just having a good time, just like you are. And it's just, and he appreciates stuff like that. We're just like, you're being real with him. You don't want anything from him. You're just like, "Hey man, I'm a big fan of yours. I want to support you." And he likes that, and he appreciates that, which is cool. So,
and he treats his fans fantastically as well. I mean, you just see him like responding to things, and just anytime fans are asking for photos or autographs,
when we did, I tell you, like you actually met him in person before I did. So basically, I had like met Sheldon Lettich and a lot of people in his circle before I'd actually met Jean-Claude, and one of them was at the Tonight Show. He had done the Tonight Show for Expendables 2, and it's like customary that they'll come out and maybe sign some autographs and then leave. But when Van Damme left, like everyone just like paparazzi fans, everyone just like mobbed his car, and so they had to take off because they're gonna like turn the car over. So he had to take off. And just I've seen that. And then when we did the Jean-Claude Van Johnson premiere in Hollywood at the Egyptian with Beyond Fest, I was like, guys, you don't understand this. Like, people will mob him. So just get him security, get him whatever he needs. And then, there's a couple people walking around helping out, this and that. But everyone just sees him and swarms on him. You know what I mean? It was just ridiculous. We had to lock the front doors for a second to make sure people were supposed to be there and stuff like that. And, and I was like, I told you, So
yeah, I mean, that was whenever I met him. We couldn't actually get close to him. There's all these people like swarming him, and he couldn't get near him. And then Ernie, brought staff, parted the Red Sea, and everybody moved out of the way, and he brought us over, and magic was made. Then I got to meet him, so my life goal was complete. So that was pretty awesome. So yeah, when are you going to get to see The Last Mercenary?
I'll probably watch it Friday, I think, because it is subtitled, so want to pay attention a little bit. Don't want to get too crazy, too late on Friday to watch it, but yeah, I'd probably try to watch it sometime Friday. Just because it's a new vein. It's also exciting. It's exciting for him to be working with Netflix at this stage in his career, right? I mean, I think I've been listening to a lot of Tarantino podcasts lately with his new book, and he's like, "Hey, the fact that I'm still doing this 30 years later, the way I want to do it, is awesome. Like, that's what else can you ask for?" And I think that with Jean-Claude, I think we can all talk about what happened or didn't happen to his career in the 90s and what happened to action films, but the fact that he can do an Amazon show and do a Netflix movie still and this and that, I think it's great. So
yeah, he still has a huge fan base. I mean, he's got something like 19 million Facebook fans or something. So
I think he's got he's more than that. It's like he's got like 30, maybe 25, 30 million followers on Facebook and like 6 million on Instagram. So for a guy like that, I mean, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, particularly international audiences. I mean, you see all the international people from all over. I think that's awesome. So it would be epic if this is what we all want. It'd be epic if he was in the next Expendables, but that's his twin brother. I think Claude Villain, wasn't that what everyone wanted to call him?
Yeah, and I kind of wonder what happened. It's funny. I saw Avi Lerner at an event, like this was years ago, and I just said, "Mr. Lerner, blah blah, like is there going to be Expendables 4?" He's like, "Of course, there will be." I'm like, "Cool." And he just kind of said it to me like that. And then of course Stallone was working on it, and then there was that TV show in the works, and all of a sudden it's all kind of gone now. I think that maybe that window has passed, but I'd watch it. Of course we would. So.
Oh, I'm still on 4. Yeah, I mean that's what we'll be talking about on Friday night. I mean, I would have preferred. I'm going to be going.
Forgot to bring him up.
Oh my god! Yeah. Yeah, that's one of his best characters in years.
Because it was also Van Damme. Because he had like instead of with and it was like also Van Damme. So he even got like a unique credit. You know. So.
I like symbol.
Yeah. Don't challenge me.
Yeah, don't challenge me. Yeah. He's the best villain of the trilogy, definitely. Shit, what was I saying beforehand?
I don't know. Sorry, I totally derailed you with my Expendables 2. You show me, and I'll show you I got my Guile card signed by him here. So
sweet.
90s trading card. So
nice. Yeah, I have the autographed Pound of Flesh poster somewhere, but it's I need to get a frame for it, so it's still stored in with the Ark of the Covenant and everything right now until such times as
there you go.
I decide to get it framed. So yeah,
I have a line. So Sheldon gave me an original Lionheart 1 sheet after we'd done a couple of screenings of it, and so he signed it, of course. And then I saw Jean-Claude, so I have a Lionheart original poster signed by both the writer director and Jean-Claude. So it's definitely a prized possession in our living room. So
I would pray to it every day.
It's more like you look at it and feel inadequate because he's like flexing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, well that'll never be me, but it's cool.
Yeah. I love the poster where he's doing the splits on the rail tracks. That's the iconic picture. I absolutely love that. Damn it, what was the story saying? It was about the Expendables or something.
I guess we were talking about The Last Mercenary. Did I derail it with the Expendables? I don't know.
Expendables. No, we were talking about Expendables. I can't remember. I've lost my train of thought now. Great job, Eugene. Thanks. Give me to shut up anyway. Last Mercenary Friday. I think that's pretty much it. And else you want to chat about? Oh, that's what I knew. That's what it was. That's what I was going to bring up. Good. I would have been so annoyed if I hadn't remembered this. You're like buddies with Van Damme now because like Jean-Claude posted on his Instagram the other day a photo of you guys at the gym, and he's like #friends, and I was like, you're friends.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely one of those things. I mean, I think we've talked about this a little bit. Like, really, like Jean-Claude Van Damme was one of the most influential guys in my life, and I didn't meet him for a while because you have your father, my actual dad, and he was a great dad, and then your father figures through life, and Jean-Claude was always one of those figures of just what he had done and with his life and like what he achieved and that kind of thing. And so I'm always just thinking like, it's such a true thing. Like your mind, your body works. You can do whatever you want if you push for it. And he's just an example of that. And so you go back and you see him on Oprah and like the fact that, he was just such a famous dude and just so whatever in the 90s like that. It's amazing. So I just saw that new clip I had never seen that clip of him with Oprah, and Oprah was like giving him props. Yeah, you've really blown up and you've come, you come a long way, blah, blah, blah. So.
Do you remember seeing interviews with him whenever he was initially starring in Predator? And he's like, I have a new movie, Predator.
Yeah, the Predator.
Like, Predator. I want to see that.
And that's what a story too. I'm sure you've read that Hollywood Reporter thing. Like they had an oral history of Predator. There's like 10 versions of why Van Damme left the movie / got fired, and they're all different. It's really funny. So,
well, the version I've read in Arnold Schwarzenegger's autobiography, he talks about it, and he said Jean-Claude Van Damme was always complaining. And he said he was like a total like prima donna, and that's why. And I was like, oh, okay. So
I think partially, Jesse Ventura, I think, comments in his book just like that the suit just wasn't working right, because I think that's the thing. Van Damme was complaining a lot because he thought he was going to be able to like show off his karate and his flexibility, but it's like, no, dude, you're literally a stunt man. And so of course he's upset in that sense. And then the fact that the suit doesn't look good and it doesn't fit him, and then whatever happened. So I mean, it is it's funny to hear Arnold say it like that. But I'm sure he was complaining a lot because it's hot. You can't see. You can't see his face. You can't do it. He's he's a glorified stuntman. But I think we can all agree that the fact that they went cheap and got Van Damme in the suit, and then they went expensive back to Sam Winston and got like a better suit and got Kevin Peter Hall. I think we can all agree that was a better creature for that movie.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I kind of liked the initial concept, but the way it moved, it looked pretend. And I think the final look they got for the Predator was definitely the best one. Although having a karate Predator would have been pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, and then it's like how 80s would that be? Like you have a karate kicking alien coming to Earth to kill and fighting Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? So
I would pay that to see that. I mean, I would watch 5 movies of that. There's a new franchise right there.
And I know you're not a fan of the Predator, but did you catch the Van Damme suit in the Predator cameo?
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah. So. I mean, it's funny, I say I don't like the movie. I still bought it. But I'm a completist, so like I buy all the Predator movies. If it's like a series, then I have to own them all. So I haven't watched it yet. I should maybe give it a second watch and see if I like it again.
I think it's just like it's a funny movie and it tells its own story a little. Like I think it definitely moves the Predator mythos a little bit and expands the universe a little bit, and you get some new characters. So it's like it's just I like part 2 because it's its own thing. Predators is fine. It's a rehash of part 1. That's just what it is. And then the Predator, it's its own thing, whether you like it or not.
That's true. Yeah. Wasn't that jujitsu? Yes. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I was trying to think. I was like, that feels like it's been done. That's what it was. Yeah. Well done. Shit, what was the thing? Yeah. Just on a random note, they just announced the new Predator movie. It's called Skull.
Yeah, I read the synopsis. Like it's going to be kind of in like caveman time, which I think is kind of weird. Or like I don't know, it'd be like Predator fighting a dinosaur or something, which could be cool. But I feel like awesome. You kind of lose the ability to have an interesting human character then if he's just a Cro-Magnon guy, right? So
yeah, I mean, I've heard all kinds of different story ideas. There was one about the Native Americans as well, which sounded awful because like the synopsis didn't even mention the Predator in it. So I was like, what? But I don't think that was it. I think that was maybe bullshit. But apparently this one is going to go straight to Hulu.
Interesting. Because I guess Disney Plus. I'm guessing Disney does not want to put R-rated action films on Disney Plus yet. So
they're on there though.
Are there? What's on there?
Yeah, they got like Speed and Commando are on there.
No, on
and the Die Hard movies. Yeah, on Disney Plus. Yeah, but maybe
it's a Canadian thing.
The Star is part of Disney Plus. So if you add, it doesn't cost any extra, but you add Star and then it has all of like the 20th Century Fox, got the Alien movies, Predator, all the good stuff right there. Some Die Hard, Commando. So that's another good reason to get Disney Plus.
Wow, no, I had no idea. I mean, basically, I think of Disney Plus. I think of Marvel films and The Simpsons and stuff like that. I don't think of Aliens or Mandalorian, of course.
Yeah, that's literally the reason I got it, was just to watch The Mandalorian. So
we should we'll do a Michael Biehn retrospective sometime. Actually, we should. It's Arnold and Michael Bihn's birthday this week, so I think we should do a one of these about them at some point. But it was great to see Michael Biehn on The Mandalorian.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's. I love watching him in anything. He's one of these guys where you don't feel like he's acting. He just is that character. No matter who he's playing, he is Kyle Reese. That's what I've never really been able to believe anybody else playing Kyle Reese. I'm like, no, Michael Biehn is that character. It's just,
And that would have been great. Kind of come back to Van Damme. Like I would have loved. Those are two of my favorite actors growing up in the '90s and '80s and '90s. Like to see, I would have loved to see them in a movie together at any point. And just like Michael Biehn could have been the villain. He could have been the CIA guy. Could have been anything against Van Damme. You know what I mean? So, but unfortunately, we never got that.
Yeah. Okay. So Star is part of Disney Plus everywhere outside the US, not in the US. So I'm not in the US. So sorry, but we have it. We have it anyway. Yeah. So hello, Sean. By the way, that's Sean.
Nice.
I think that's about it for me. I didn't expect this to be too long. TAE presents Been There, Done. That's literally what we have to call it then. That would be awesome. Just to retrospective.
I'll give you a quick one then. When I met Michael Biehn a few times and I was like nervous to meet him, and I met him one time. He was like in a really bad mood. His wife was awesome though, and so he was just having a bad day, and his wife was super awesome. But that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like people, they're humans. You put them like they're not animals in a cage, and they have feelings too, and they have bad days too. But like I said with Jean-Claude, when I met him the first time, he was just like, he just lit up right away, and he was just like so, like I said, so effervescent, so positive, just, and then I started talking about like the Eagle Path. He's like, you're an actual fan. So like he appreciates that, and so now it's an amazing journey to go from a kid who watched him in movies as a kid in Ohio to, being his pseudo friend and being on his Instagram. Don't get me wrong. So
and having him text and whatever. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yes. To wake up to a 4 a.m. text from Jean-Claude is pretty cool. So
yeah, it's quite awesome. Okay, well, I think that pretty much rounds up everything. Anything else you want to add about Timecop or Van Damme?
No, I'm going to go watch Timecop and watch The Last Mercenary. Let's get those numbers up. I think there's been some great interviews with him. They did a great one for Comic-Con with Netflix Geeked, and so it's great to see. It's always awesome just to see him doing press, right? So you always hear something interesting.
Although why he's not talking with the Action Elite, I don't know, but there we are. Been doing this for 10 years and still not getting any decent interviews.
I guess we got to get you into their PR circle. We should work on that. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've been trying long enough. So, all right. Well, we're going to be here on Friday night talking the Expendables franchise. So, not sure if you're able to join us, Yuvin, but you're invited anyway. And I think there's like 6 or 7 of us anyway. So it should be an epic chat if that goes to plan. So and remember to say this time for once, please remember to like and subscribe and click the notifications button so we can keep the site going, and also like and subscribe to Jean-Claude Van Damme's pages as well on social media as well, and support one of our favorite action stars. And thank you, Yuvian, for joining me, and we'll chat soon. We'll chat about The Last Mercenary and give our thoughts after we've seen it at some point.
Sounds good. Rest in pieces.
Yes, indeed. All right, thank you all. Have a good night.
All right, bye.
Bye.